Your number one hype gal here, and welcome to the weekly warm-up, your weekly dose to feel a little more confident and a lot more human. I'm Jess McDowell, and each week I'll share life updates, mindset shifts, product faves, the little things that help me stay grounded, energized, and moving and grooving. Whether you're heading out for a jog, sipping your morning coffee, or just need a midweek pick-me-up, this is your warm-up for living a real balanced life. So take a breath, shake it out, and let's dive in. Hello, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Welcome back to the weekly warm-up podcast. Sometimes I'll say something else because I have multiple different weekly warm-ups, but this is the podcast, and welcome back. I'm happy you're here. I hope you're doing well. Right now, when you're listening to this, will be balls deep in education. On Monday and Tuesday, I am getting my level 3 certification and education more on running. So I'm just, stepping up a level. I have 2 12-hour days, Monday and Tuesday, where I literally can't remove myself from my screen for more than like 20 minutes, I think, at a time. If like you get every 75 minutes, you get a little bit of a break and then you have lunch and that's about it. And then there's 12-hour days. So all I know is right now when this podcast is out, I'm somewhere becoming a better person. No, but I'm pumped about it because I am the type of person where you can never stop learning and never stop getting better at your craft and what you do. And so to be able to have this knowledge that I've had for a long time with endurance and running to add on to it and get better at what I already am phenomenal at is a gift and a treat. That's what I'll be doing. Other than that, I think we should just get started because if not, I'll squirrel and just keep babbling on about stuff that you didn't ask for. So let's dive in. I wanted to start by doing something different instead of me going full speed ahead with the topics. Typically, obviously, they're within, endurance, running, nutrition, etc., mental health, which this is a mental health check-in, but you catch what I'm putting on the table. I just wanted to say for 1 second, just stop wherever you're at or whatever you're doing. Obviously, if you're driving, don't stop. Do a mental check-in on yourself. How are you doing? Are you feeling like you're working smarter, not harder? Are you feeling like you're satisfied with the things that you're doing currently? Are you feeling like you're able to offer yourself to your family, to your children, to your friends, to your husband, whoever it is, and that you are still filling your cup up? Are you content? Is there something that you're wanting to change or get better at? How are you feeling? There is nothing wrong with saying, I don't know, or I am literally on the verge of a breakdown. I'm not doing well at all, or actually I'm in a good place right now. Thank God. Who knows what will happen the next 2 hours? Sometimes you don't let yourself do a full body scan check-in, and there's nothing wrong with that. 9 times out of 10, you're most likely, once you've done that full body scan, are going to have a few answers. You're probably going to say that you are very proud of yourself for certain things. You're probably going to say that you're a little burnt out, fatigued, overwhelmed with a couple other things. You'll probably say how you are working on improving and getting better in another area. I would find it really hard for somebody just to say clean across the board, they're doing fantastic, or clean across the board, they're not doing well at all. But, never say never. All I'm saying is as high performing women, sometimes we also need to give ourselves a reality check of saying, it's okay if I'm not feeling the best, even though I am thriving and there are so many things that are happening and I'm going full speed. You're not taking that time to take a step back. And we especially put pressure on ourselves because we want to be this high performing, high achieving woman that is very independent and very strong. But at the same time, we also want to be that, soft, feminine woman that is able to just exude who she is as a female. It's hard sometimes to be able to differentiate the two or to separate them or bring them together without there being negativity or without you feeling like, I don't know, that you can't do the both or can't do both. What I always say is, first of all, besides doing the check-in, is just staying disciplined with yourself, staying consistent, staying motivated and productive and really just protecting your energy. Because if you can't give yourself to yourself, if you can't fulfill what you're doing, whether it's emotionally, physically, professionally, relationally, then you can't do that for anybody else or any other thing. There's nothing wrong with just taking a beat for a second and being like, I'm not well, I'm not good, I'm doing great, but I need a reset. I need that full body scan. And for example, for me, this would have been a week ago from today, but last Tuesday, I legitimately decided I woke up and I was feeling good, but I realized I needed to go for a run, but my motivation and energy was at an all-time low. And I didn't want to push myself. Normally I would. And I just told myself no. And I mean, I'm talking to you, I did essentially nothing that day. Absolutely nothing. There's a difference between like I've always talked about, I love a good bed rot day or just being, lazy at home doing stuff. But this isn't a bed rot day. This was just like mental wipe out. I kept telling myself that it was okay because immediately, right when that happens, your anxiety kicks in that, how dare you feel this way? You're not supposed to feel this way. You should be just constantly doing something, or you should be going after this or doing that. And then not even that, but then the idea of just breathing and being like, if I allow myself to literally have this moment where my body is telling me I've hit a wall, I can't do anything, you're going to need to lay, you're going to feel so much better the next day. And then you're going to be able to just continue on again. But if you fight this and make yourself feel like crap, then it's just going to continue getting worse. And then you're not going to have that bounce back. Just honoring the idea that if your body's telling you that, do it. And I did it. And let me tell you, it was challenge. I'm talking, my gosh, I probably what's the right term? I probably went over all my entire life choices 4 or 5 times, let alone made myself feel as if I were the most unproductive human in the world for my body hitting a brick wall and saying no, which is hilarious considering how counterintuitive it was or is. But then I just remembered and I did my breathing work and I listened to calming music. I journaled and I realized that tomorrow you're going to feel so much better, that your body needs this. If you just give into this and allow it to happen, you will be fine the next day. And you know that. And everything always ends up working out. Lo and behold, the next day I woke up and what did I do? I just decided to go run a half marathon or 13 miles because I did need to get a long run in, but I was just feeling that high of rest and recovery and just mental ease that my body kicked back. Now I'm moving and grooving. So just remember that when you're feeling like you need to hit a wall, hit the damn wall. Who cares? I'm too disciplined for that. If I need to shut down, I'm gonna shut down. Just realize that you're balancing so many different versions of yourself at once in a world where we're just constantly going. You want to grow and you want to improve and you want to show up for your goals. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to hit that brick wall. Why can't I speak? And then you'll be more present, you'll grow, and you'll take care of yourself. Okay. I don't know if I am malfunctioning. I think I'm a robot. I do believe that we are just robots now. I'm now convinced that I am being controlled by some sort of whatever it's called. I don't game. What are they? Controllers? No. What are the handhelds? Who knows? The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be the best version of yourself, but to be able to sustain the lifestyle that you want. And that means you got to live balance and you got to let the ebbs and flows happen. Like I always say, you're strong, you're capable, you're healthy, you're worthy. Get out there, move and groove. Unless you've hit a brick wall, then you can hit that brick wall in bed and rot, or your couch, or wherever else you like. I wanted to keep today's episode kind of light and airy just because I feel I've been surrounded by a lot of business lately, and I want my podcast to be the place where I feel like, you know what, we're going to have some fun because I can, because it's mine. So I want to talk about things runners pretend are normal. Yikes, because these are really funny. I collected some from friends, obviously found some just from really funny videos that I've seen online, and then, obviously stuff that I thought about. As endurance athlete, as runners, we have, as a team, as a group, have collectively decided certain things are normal, and I want to go out on the record and say they're not. We are just that insane. And that's okay. I'm cool with that. I'll take it. But number one is eating while running. And I'm not talking about having a full blown meal. At one point, did we decide that it was an acceptable behavior to just run 10 miles, to run as far as we want, where we just go for a 10-mile run and on mile 4, we stop and eat applesauce? Like out of packets. And it's not applesauce, it's gels. But here we are just stuffing our bodies in every crevice that we can find with whatever gear it is, these packets of goob, just so we can, PR. I don't know. I just think it's really funny. And then I think about how when I'm, training and I'm running down the road or whatever, and cars are passing me, and I'm just, whipping out gels and sucking them back like I'm a, 36-year-old baby. I just think it's hilarious. Just see the different ways that people will get their fuel in during a run. I mean, I like eating nerd clusters. Some people do that a lot. My mom and I, the other day, actually, when we were FaceTiming, she was talking about how she used to do like the Welch's fruit chews. I've tried that, but I can't, like, I don't want to have to chew while I run. I love the gels. I don't want to have to physically chew on something that I have to get down to what a liquid would be or some sort. To think that we even slow down. So now we're out here just breathing heavily, probably looking like we're trying to just save our lives. We're trying not to choke. I mean, what was it? The 305 half marathon. I was taking a Martin gel, and I guess I just breathed in too quickly. And one of the part of the gel got like lost or lodged or whatever in my throat. And I remember I'm just this guy is like running next to me, and he's like, just pacing along or whatever. And I'm over there, like, as I'm still running, like, I'm trying not to lose pace. I'm like, and I'm trying to like spit out the goob. Anyways, gross. But it's the funniest shit that what we do. But yeah, so I don't know. I just think it's funny that we have, as a group, collectively agreed that we are going to pack a lunch in our bodies of as many liquid carbs as we could possibly have and some caffeine to PR and to get us through that finish line. And I'm here for it all day. Number 2 is planning your entire life around runs. Yes, I plan everything around my runs, especially if I am in serious training mode. But in general, if I know I'm having a ton of meetings, or if I have to get content filmed, or, my podcast, whatever it may be, I am marking down my runs first and then putting everything around it, and knowing the days where if I'm going to have a long run, then obviously I'm going to need more time, but also I'll probably go earlier than if I'm doing like a quick run, which I could get done in the afternoon or whatnot. I tend to run in the morning, or morning, mid-morning, early afternoon. I'm not an evening runner, never have been, never will. I like to get it done in the morning, but also, I mean, that's when you have the most energy from the day before, in the sense of like your energy levels. And obviously, if you're fueling that morning, you have more energy than if you were to have lived an entire day. But that's just how I look, as another factor of being a psycho. But yes, I will plan my entire life around my runs. And that will also mean I can't go do something because I have a long run the next day, which I am always running, because not only is it something that I do as for fun, which not really now, but I mean, it's my life. So I'm either doing run clubs, I have events, I'm filming content, I'm having to do my own training, I'm working with training with other people. So in general, I have been asked to do things, and I literally am saying to them, I can't, I have a long run the next day, or no, I've got to do this. I don't have a life. I don't. I think there's been a meme that says something about that, but hey, I'm not mad at it. And then there are times where you have to schedule a very big block of your day. Sometimes if I have, and I'm talking, 10 miles or more, will I need then to schedule out time to regroup, rest, possibly take a nap, etc. But I mean, when I'm saying I plan my entire life around runs, I'm also saying that when I'm recovering, whatever I'm doing to my body to make sure that I can do that again the next day, most likely taking a nap, obviously fueling. So just understand that when you are around runners and they're pretty much they're in the thick of it, it's not you, it's them. In this standpoint. It's not you, it's them. And don't take offense to it because it's real. We should probably have like running AA, running anonymous, RA. I'm going to start it. Number 3 is the outfit logic. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I can get a bit of a tan in while I'm running, I'm all for it. Though my runner's tan has probably been the worst runner's tan I've had in a hot minute. I'm talking, I need to go lay out, but I'm honestly too afraid to go lay out because I look like a cinnamon roll, but that's okay. I'm going to just go to the beach and see what happens. I think it's funny that we'll try to wear the least amount of clothing because obviously with running, you want to make sure that you can get a good pace going, that you're not feeling weighed down with your clothing, sweat wickening, that obviously too, it's not overheating you, XYZ. But then we will literally strap on the most aggressive hydration gear or running vests or running belt. They're basically our survival kit. And it's just funny to me that I want to wear 4-inch biker shorts with, a high impact small sports bra, but then I'm going to throw on that running vest with 8 gels. I don't usually put water in the like a hydro jug or about a bladder in, but we have the 8 gels, we have our phone, most likely our key. I always bring like a lip gloss with me. I guarantee you people are thinking, where are you going? What are you doing? Maybe I just think these are funny because I'm not really laughing as much as I thought I was when I was doing this. So maybe this is not as funny of a segment as it is. Maybe it's just more relatable. But yeah, wearing nothing, but then having everything at the same time. I will not wear running belts. Running belts are not for me. I don't like how it slaps up on you if balls are slapping you. There's just something about it. And then having to stuff a certain amount of gels in, it doesn't even out the body weight. I'm always big on like even distribution, especially when you're running and then just feeling like it's all jammed into one area and you can't wear your running belt in the front. That just like what aerodynamic. So it would be, well, yeah, we'll say aerodynamics, but what's the word? It will come to me. But aerodynamics wise, you don't want it in the front. So you're supposed to wear it in the back. Some people wear it on the side, but if you wear it in the back, then obviously with like you running forward, it's the wind and whatnot, but obviously it's not going to bother you in the front. I cannot stand running belts for the life of me at all. I would rather wear a running vest any day. I actually love wearing a running vest, to be honest with you. And it's easy to access. I saw a girl, she's an Olympian, Quibbly do a video about this, but it's about how basically everything you do before your run. And it was really funny, but how we're waking up and we're going to go for a run. So I'm going to go for a run at 9 a.m. The 20 million things that you do that you're kind of psyching yourself out on, you're somewhat procrastinating, but you're not. But you also have all these rituals that you need to do and make sure that you get this in. And did you take your supplements? Have I peed enough during this time? Do I need to make sure that when I go for my run, I get enough out of my bladder so I don't have to stop and go to the bathroom? Did I stretch? Okay. Like, did I take my gels? Do I need to take more now that I've kind of procrastinated more? Do I need to do this? I mean, it is actually comical how much I will have a pre-run meltdown for no apparent reason. And it's just one of those things now where I give myself a certain amount of time and I tell myself, you have this amount of time to get your act together and go. Or, well, it's not that you're not going, but you have this amount of time to get your act and go before you know that you're going to just not enjoy yourself or you're just burning energy by thinking about it and you're going to have a bad run. But it's comical. The stuff that I think I need to get done before I go for a run. I will literally do a load of laundry. Girl, for what? For who? You don't have company coming over. Why do you got to do laundry? You don't have a life. You literally run. We literally just talked about this. You schedule your life around running and here you are wanting to make sure that my home's presentable. And the one that irks me the most is when your watch stops or you pause it and you forget to start it again, or your entire workout actually stops on its own. I'm boiling thinking about that. I'm not going to lie. Apple Watch by far is the worst. I'm aware. I have decided on what I'm getting. Okay. I have decided. Apple Watch, if you pause your workout, will remind you, do you want to continue your workout, which is nice. And then obviously you say resume, and 9 times out of 10, it will have caught up to whatever you had paused. So you're not losing anything. But there are times where it doesn't do that. Or there are times where whatever you're wearing, or you accidentally bump it and it ends your workout, you have gone long enough where you know that that is just a wash. The whole thing that you just did was a wash. If it is not documented, it didn't happen. It is the type of anger, blood boiling that will make you want to just give up on life and everything in general. I mean, I have gone where it's been miles, miles, and I've noticed that either the watch paused and didn't decide to resume. And that has been times because I forgot to resume it. But like I said, typically the watch will ask you if you want to resume, but it didn't, or it just stopped my workout completely. You don't even know what to do. You just sit there and you don't even know what to do. And you think to yourself, should I start over? Or do I just call it a day? And it's happened more often than none, especially with the Apple Watch, which is why I'm getting rid of it. And I think that's one thing that's with runners, we can all understand. And then also finishing your run and it being at an odd mile. I will finish my run if well, I also like this in general, which is weird because my favorite number 17 is an odd number, but everything I do has to be an even number well, that's not true. So most things I have to do has to be an even number, or it has to be some sort of rounded, if that makes sense. Even when it comes to air conditioning my car, turning up on a TV, I always have to turn my volume up to 10. Like volume 10 on my TVs is good, but it can't be at 7. It has to be at an even number. In my car, I'm an asshole and I like to put it at 69 because it's just fun. But it has to, yeah. When I'm running, it has to either be on the 10. So for instance, 5.5 miles, 5.6 miles. Like, no, I couldn't finish at 5.6. It would have to be at the half mile, or it'd have to be at a full mile, or unless it's like a quarter mile, but I don't even know if I could do that. But it has to make sense and end properly. That is a serial killer trait. If you end your run randomly and it is 8.17 mile and you were good with ending like that, you're silly. That's the serial killer trait right there for you. I don't know how you do that. That is insane right there. I don't know. I need to know because that actually is some sort of good psychological power too, because I'll go to the point where I have to run just another mile and I'm at 9.12 just so it feels even. And I will go another mile just for that. I will have literally lost all my limbs on my body, but I will make sure that I have that full mile in and that it is even across the board. We are moving in to elite or overrated. And this week we are talking, go figure, hydration gear, vests versus handheld versus belts, because I haven't really talked about that on the podcast before, but also I find that it's something that I've been talking to a lot of people about lately. And so I'm just going to give a rundown. But if you want more, you know where to find me, the weekly warm up club. Yeah, that mentoring right there. I got you. So elite or overrated hydration gear. And specifically, we're going to do hydration vests, the handheld bottles, and running belts. Once your run starts and it's getting longer and hydration is not optional anymore, it becomes part of your performance and it becomes part of your ritual as far as how you prepare for your run, how you execute it, how you buy your gear, what type of gear you use, etc. We're going to start with handheld bottles, and I will be the first one to admit that I don't use handheld bottles. I am not the best when it comes to hydrating when I'm running, especially even super long distances. It's just been one of those things for me. It's not about taking down the liquid, it's just about the extra weight. But I do have floppy flasks that I can easily use. I do have vests that have the bladder where I could put the bladder in the back with the straw. But that to me is just not going to happen if I'm trying to go fast, which that's one thing. And I know I'm scrolling right now. This all just depends on too of the level that you're at and what you're trying to achieve and accomplish with your runs. Because if you're running to PR, if you're running to podium, it's going to be different how you hydrate and fuel versus somebody that's just really wanting to run and be proud of themselves for getting done that race. Everything that they need as far as hydration and fuel goes is necessary, and I'm not knocking it at all. This is just kind of a breakdown of everything. And then I'll obviously throw in my personal preference. Handheld bottles, they're great for shorter runs. Typically, with the handheld, you'll have a little holder. And so you don't have to feel like you're holding the bottle. And it's not, I mean, you can get ones that are larger, but it's typically just enough for you to kind of, I call it like a teat, like just suck on, because you're not trying to fill up your stomach. You're just trying to feel satiated with the electrolytes and the hydrating or whatever it is that you have in there, the liquids. It's like a, yeah, you just carry it and it's right here and that's that. It's really basic to the point. It can be lightweight and easy to use. Again, depending on the size you do. Also, you can get it to where if you are wearing any type of other gear, like a running vest or a belt, that once it's done, if you finish it before your run's over, you can kind of throw it in, which I'll get to like the floppy flasks in a second. The downside is obviously that you're carrying it. It's in one hand. You can switch it out, but essentially still you're always going to have it in one hand. You're not carrying it in two hand. And for me, that's where I draw the line for myself, because then your weight is not evenly distributed. So you're going to feel uneven, even though it's something as small as a water bottle or like even holding your phone. You'll notice over time that your body will overcompensate, or you will lean a little bit more to one way or to the other. And it could be by like a degree. It does make all the difference. I promise you, especially when you're running longer distances. Naturally, things get heavier the more you tire it out. I see so many people when they're doing races that have them and love them. I would say to get a little floppy flask, it's what you get when you get a running vest, and usually they're in the front of your vest, and they're smaller though. So they're about this size. I don't have the exact milliliters or whatever. It's really great if you're wanting just to down something right before you go on a long run, or to hold on while you have a long run. You could actually, for this, you would put it in your vest, because you could even out the distribution of the gels with your phone and the floppy. And then once it's done, it's just empty and it's essentially weighs nothing. Or, I mean, you just throw it in the bush and you go back and get it. You will be surprised how many runners actually do that. Races are different depending on the length of races. Sometimes they'll have people meet them at certain points of the race to just hand them something, or they go without or with. Obviously, there's always hydration stations at every mile or whatnot when you're at a race. But if you're just training and running around town, or wherever you are in the city, you can sometimes notice like people will hide things in different areas when they're going on certain runs, just so they know at that point they're going to stop and take a drink of this, or maybe they have fuel or whatever. I mean, I've ran before where I started to get too hot and took off a long sleeve, and I'll put it somewhere and come back and get it. So you can do that where you just kind of throw it. Or if I'm in a race and I don't want to have to worry about it in my vest, I'll just throw it out. Because I mean, I don't want to say I'm not trying to be rude. They're like $10, but in retrospect, anyways, moving on. So that was that. Now we're moving on to running belts. These are kind of the middle ground, I guess. You're either a running belt person or you're a running vest person. You're really, I don't know very many people that are in between, to be honest with you. I really, really don't. And I get that. That's totally fine. Obviously, they sit around your waist and you can carry small bottles. I mean, you could make a running belt, and you can buy a running belt, not make it, but you could buy a running belt where essentially it could be a full blown fanny pack situation. Water bottles, key holders and key rings, your gel areas, your ID, your phone, whatever it may be. There are running belts that look straight up like tool belts. Again, one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan. But anyways, yes, you can carry small bottles, fuel your phone, blah, blah, blah. And they are great because they free up your hands. That's the goal with everything, is not to have anything in your hands, because one, weight distribution, and two, cramping. You can also use your hands, your arms for speed. So you want to make sure that they're there for that. They're not there to be your guide and hold things. I'm just, again, the thing that my bugaboo is the bounce. I can't stand the bounce. I can't stand the weight around the hips. I find that they don't always stay where they're supposed to, even if you're tightening them or loosening them. You have to wear a certain type of bottom with them in order for it to work well, to avoid any type of scrunching up or just getting in the way. I just find that's just too much. And especially if you're running, you're using your core, you're using your lower body, your hips. So to have something around that area to me is just not happening. They can be effective if you, I can't tell you how many people love them. More people run with belts than vests any given day. I find that there's only a few handful of people that will run with vests, me being one of them. And then the good old vests. I love a vest. They even your weight very, very well. They're a quick little 1, 2 to keep it snug. You're not suffocating yourself. I think that's something is people don't want to wear the vest. They think that they're going to overheat or that they're not able to expand in their ribs. You're not locking and loading in there like you're going in for war. You just have it nicely on where it's snug to where everything fits. And when you're putting in things, naturally that weight distribution is going to hold everything in place. Obviously, if you're buying an appropriate running vest, it should be breathable, it should be sweat wicking, it should be lightweight, and it should be designed to where it's not covering, for instance, on your back where it would be all your heat spots to where you'll heat up more, if that makes sense. And it is very minimal. Everything that you have is majority in the front. There are some, so I do have like one that has where you could put the bladder in, but I just don't use it. Or I have another one that you could put something in the back if you're just trying not to get to it forever, or not forever, but for example, if I just did not want to use my phone at all, which 9 times out of 10 during a race, I don't use my phone at all. So you could put it in like a back pocket, whatever, but majority of everything is in the front and it's distributed evenly. And I like it. I'll usually have my key and my phone on one side, my gels on the other, because that usually evens things out. If I do have a water or like a little floppy flask, that will be on the side where my phone and my key are. And I don't know. I love it. It's perfect. Now, yes, you could feel if you're not liking it or if you are more claustrophobic that it could bother you, especially, yeah. If you're claustrophobic, you're probably not going to like it at all because it is on your chest. I love it a lot and I think it's very efficient. Some of my favorites are by Solomon Running. LSKD just came out with a badass one that I love. And then I have another one and I always forget the brand. It's the green one I wear. I will say though, not trying to be mean, but Camelback, I think that is Camel Pack. They're great for hiking, but a running vest I have of theirs and no. Sorry. But yeah, LSKD and Solomon is really good. I really love them. There's one for Solomon that's always sold out, so I hope I can get it soon. If you are newer to running or you're still undecided, I would say one, to try everything. There's nothing wrong with trying everything. And if that means maybe you can borrow from a friend to try and see if you're more of the running vest or running belts or how you do with handheld, not kind of. Go based off of what makes you feel good and makes you perform your best, not what the masses say, not what people in your run club think, not what society or whatever it may be. Truthfully, if anything, running vests have been made fun of for as long as I can remember. I've been running for 20 years. If I put on a running vest 20 years ago, people would genuinely look at me and say, "Oh, what do you think you're running a marathon? Do you think you're cool?" Truly, to wear a running vest was almost as so taboo. Do whatever makes you feel like you can perform at your best. And if someone has something to say about that, look them in the eye and ask them what their PR is. Because I guarantee you that they're a loser. All in all, if you're learning though, handheld water is really good for a quick run, but just make sure that you're not overcompensated. One thing I haven't discussed is the gear that is wearable gear that has pockets and areas to put gels in. I'm all for that too. I personally have not used them just because, in all honesty, 9 times out of 10, I am being sponsored by Fabletics to wear clothes and I have a partnership with them. So I'm wearing what, I love to wear and that's okay. That's not a problem. Have no bad things to say about the shorts and the tops that already come with the areas that you can put your gels in. My only thing with me is I know that you can put your phone in some of the tops. I just honestly have not went down that path because of my vest. Who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try it out just for fun and we'll do some content on it. I know that the bottoms, the leggings, or excuse me, the biker shorts people love. I was actually just talking to a girlfriend of mine that actually comes to my Fabletics Run Club the other day. We did the Be There 5K, Lupe, shout out. And she loves these biker shorts that you can just put all your gels in with the zip right there. I think that's very, very smart. Don't get me wrong. And I love not the theory. Who am I saying? What? The theory? I love the purpose of them. The tops I would have to check out. Also, too, I would want to make sure with like chafing, if it's gets heavier, so it needs to be a perfect snug fit, because if not, then if you're bouncing at all anywhere, I'm just rambling now, honestly, and just thinking in my head. Wearable gear that you can put gels and hydration on, I am all for it. Again, at the end of the day, it's preference and whatever you feel works best for you. Can you tell it's been raining? My hair just gets a little frizzy. Y'all know the drill. It's that time where I pull out my handy dandy cellular, go over something that I have found on the World Wide Web this week. The neuroscience of grit, why some people don't quit. And the caption says, researchers show perseverance relies on networks in the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex that regulate focus, evaluate effort versus reward, and help us stay committed to long-term goals. Motivational chemistry, like dopamine, also plays a key role in sustaining effort and goal pursuit. Even more interesting, these circuits are plastic, meaning the brain literally adapts to repeated effort, leaning from setbacks and long-term goal pursuit. In other words, grit isn't something you're born with, it's something your brain can build. Absolutely. What grit actually is. Psychologist Angela Duckworth. Okay, I love your last name, ma'am. That reminds me of Mighty Ducks. Defines grit as passion, perseverance for long-term goals. People high in grit tend to outperform others even when talent and IQ are similar. Yeah, absolutely. Your brain systems help determine how well you sustain effort. The brain's goal control center, the prefrontal cortex, is critical for perseverance. It helps you stay focused on long-term goals, suppress distractions, persist through difficulty. Stronger prefrontal activity is linked to greater perseverance in goal pursuit, or persistence in goal pursuit. The brain's effort calculator, another key region, is the anterior, they call it the ACC, anterior cingulate cortex. I'm probably wrong on saying that. It helps the brain evaluate, is the effort worth the reward? The region performs cost-benefit calculations that influence whether we push through challenges or quit. Motivation chemistry, perseverance also depends on dopamine. Dopamine helps regulate motivation, focus, reward learning. This system helps the brain keep pursuing goals even when progress is slow. Okay, like I always do, I will share this in my stories on my podcast page when this episode comes out. Grit isn't about being born tough. We don't all get participation medals. Today we do, but you shouldn't. Squeezing your partner's butt helps lower stress and is healthy. Also viewed as a sign of happy relationship. All right. Our nervous system responds strongly to gentle touch, but only when it's consensual and welcomed. If it causes discomfort or crosses boundaries, it has the opposite effect. Okay, we get it. But talk about what you're actually selling here. Warm, safe physical contrast signals safety to the brain, helping lower cortisol while boosting oxytocin. Wow. The hormone linked to bonding, stress relief, and overall well-being. The last thing I wanted to touch on, and it is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see with women runners, and it is trying to do too much too soon, i.e. progressive training. Progressive training is exactly what it sounds like. So you are gradually increasing your mileage, your intensity, your duration over time. So basically your body can adapt, can sustain, and you get better. Your muscles and your joints and your cardiovascular system all needs time to adjust. It needs time to adapt to those increased loads, especially a high intensity sport like endurance running, where that puts a lot of and stress and pressure onto the body, you have to allow yourself that time to adapt. So if you're increasing too quickly, then that's when injuries happen. That's when you start to get random little ticks. You start to feel tired more frequently. You're not really noticing true progress. And when you're not noticing true progress, that means you're not being able to lower your pace. You're not being able to go farther distances. You're burning out pretty similar at the same rate as far as distance goes and pace goes and stamina goes. You're not able to catch up with your breathing. You're just not progressing. This matters even more for women because with recovery, hormones, energy availability, that plays a huge role in how our body adapts to training. We have to look at ourselves literally as if we are a temple, and there's these different aspects of training that we need to be in tune with our body in order to be able to output the best to our ability. And a rule of thumb I always say is increase your weekly mileage no more than 10%. You might think that's too little or that you could do more. Think about it like this. You're increasing your mileage no more than 10%. That doesn't mean you're not increasing your training by 10%. So there's all different types of training, threshold, tempo, speed work. So your speed day for track days, obviously your intentional runs, your long runs. There's so many different aspects of training. So when we're saying not increasing your mileage by 10% weekly, that doesn't mean that we're not increasing by 10% in areas of your training program. You have to think about it like that. And it's also spacing out your harder efforts and allowing that time to recover in between and not stacking intensity back to back. So I would never stack a not high, but like a heavy speed work day with then a long run day right after it. It's basically you're building yourself up. So you're planning your training on how your body can adapt the best to it, but then also to how you're having to have a little amount of downtime with recovery, but still recovering fully and maintaining a healthy body. So there's no reason why you should be stacking back to back when you can space out and be more efficient. I'm not going to dive in any more to it because giving you all my tips and tricks would then defeat the weekly warm up club. But I will say I am a ninja when it comes to training stacks, and I am a ninja when it comes to understanding each individual's training stack because everybody is different. Not everyone needs to be training under the same load and training certain days of the week. It all varies. And that also varies too with what else you have going on in your life and what other goals you have. And obviously your ultimate main goal as well. So that's a big area, especially for female endurance runners or female runners, is that they're not properly being educated on how to train and they're not properly being educated on how their body will adapt to training and get better for them. They're following something maybe on an app, AI, they might be following something that is made out for, and I'm not judging this at all because I am a host of a run club, but run club goals, everyone's different and everyone won't adapt to a certain amount of training like somebody else would. You've got to have different tiers. And then also you have to, take under consideration too that the climate where somebody is, how their body burns energy. I mean, my body, it metabolizes rapid speed compared to maybe somebody else. So the way I'm fueling and the way I'm training is completely different than the way someone else would train. And that's not even me just saying that I'm being advanced. I'm just saying in general. So there's so many aspects to it. But one thing I would say is not increasing by 10% your mileage a week, but that doesn't mean that you're not increasing and changing your training load. We have hit that time of the podcast where we're almost done, and I'm going to be talking about products I'm digging this week. Right off the bat, is it right off the bat or right out of the gate? I think it's right out of the gate. right out of the gate, right out of the dugout, we got this refocus. They sent me some of their cans. It's essential vitamins and minerals. It has caffeine and electrolytes. I'm digging it. It's pretty good. Yeah. It got me through this podcast. So I like that. I really didn't plan anything else that I'm digging this week. I'm digging my dog Welker, who's laying right next to me. He's being the goodest boy in the world. My animal crackers from Trader Joe's. I love animal crackers. I have such a sweet tooth and I always reward myself with a sweet treat at night. I will have animal crackers around the house so that way I don't overindulge in other sweets. I will have an ice cream sandwich at night, but it's like, cookie ice cream sandwich from Trader Joe's. Come on now. But yeah, animal crackers are just a really great way for me to, if I want to be a tronque monkey without being one. So I'm definitely digging my Trader Joe's animal crackers. And then that's